Health Beat with Dr. Vanita Zahn.
Welcome. The pandemic has changed our habits, and that means many more people are heading outside for activities while keeping socially distanced. Among them, folks who may now be engaging in snow sports for the first time or first time in a long time, and that means they need to take precautions to protect their head. In fact, January is National Winter Sports TBI, Traumatic Brain Injury Awareness Month. Dr. Hamish Kerr is a physician at Albany Med, specializing in sports-related concussion.
Hi, Dr. Kerr. Thank you for spending time with us.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'm glad to be here, Benita.
So, taking care of the noggin. If you ski, we know now folks are all wearing helmets. But what about those who are going out to snowshoe or cross country, things of that sort? What do we need to be aware of in terms of keeping our brains, safe?
Good question. We certainly see skiers and snowboarders well protected during the winter if they're wearing a helmet, and I've certainly seen a few people in the last few weeks who have had serious injury saved from their helmet. But you're right, there's lots of winter activities where we don't necessarily have that type of protection, and I see my fair few number of falls on ice and things like that. And yeah, you really have to be careful out there when the sidewalks are slippery, and it's important to have good balance and to be wearing sensible footwear, and just be aware that you know what the winter conditions are like when you step out the door.
If you do endure a fall and hit your head, what should you be aware of, whether it's you personally or one of your children? Hallmarks that say maybe this is a little bit more than just a bump on the noggin and I should see a doctor.
Yeah, I think you can hit your head without necessarily being severely injured, but certainly if you have persisting headaches, if you feel nauseous, and if your child throws up, those are signs that there may be something more serious. Usually there's more symptoms than just having a headache. You'll be dizzy, you'll be sensitive to light. Those type of things may indicate that there's been a more serious injury. And if you're looking after someone and they just seem groggy and aren't answering questions well and don't seem as alert and oriented as they should, then those are kind of key findings that mean they may need assessed urgently.
Will you exhibit these symptoms within 2, 12, 24 hours, or could there be residual problem, 2 or 3 days down the road?
Certainly, and I think the more that we learn about head injuries, the more we realize that they can evolve over a 24, 48-hour period. So often we'll have someone get hurt on a Saturday, and then, they'll rest up on a Sunday, and then they may go to work or school on Monday morning and they will realize, oh wow, I do not feel good. And it won't be until they do some more cognitive activity that they realize that they've got more symptoms than they realized.
What's the latest thinking about returning to play, specifically, for kids who are on a sports team? I know it's always evolving, the concussion protocol.
It is. I think we talked a few years back, and even since then, things have evolved. The most important thing that we consider right now is that a return to school is more important than a return to play. So we really try and make sure that our student athletes are getting back to class. And that can become particularly challenging during this COVID pandemic because a lot of those classes are online and are really difficult for people that are recovering from a head injury. So the return to schools first and foremost, and we try and arrange that within a day or two of their injury. And then once their symptoms improve, we will try and get them back to doing some activity. We don't want them resuming contact sports necessarily immediately, but it is important that they return to some sort of physical activity. Most of our high school students, for instance, are used to being active, and if they're inactive, it just makes them feel worse. So in a controlled environment, things like walking for exercise, getting on a stationary bike, doing things that are low risk for a repeat injury but allow you to be active are important to institute.
Why is fist, you know, the life on Zoom, the computer time. Why is that a challenge for particularly a child who may be recovering from a concussion?
Well, it's multifactorial, but there's a few things. First of all, the screens are they're bright and they can aggravate people with light sensitivity. Second of all, you're really scanning text on a computer screen, and that requires good eye coordination, and that's affected by concussions. They really kind of disrupt your eye's ability to track across a screen well, and people have difficulty reading, and particularly reading computer screens. So, so there's a variety of reasons, but it's more challenging to expect someone that's had a head injury to be able to use these remote learning.
Fascinating stuff. Take care of the noggin. Be careful out there, you know.
This is
Dr.
true.
Hamish Kerr, Albany Med. Thank you. Stay well.
Thanks, Benita. Stay well.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of Health Beat. New programs post every Monday and Thursday, so we'll see you next time.